Hey, what's up? This is my first YouTube video. I just got a ball python a few weeks ago. I did have snakes when I was younger, but this is the first ball python I've gotten. I did a couple weeks worth of research beforehand, before buying everything and setting everything up. I did set everything up before I bought the snake. Even so, I still ran into problems. A lot of people, when they first buy their ball python, I feel like the majority of people who are first-time owners, and this is really what this video is geared towards first-time owners, they go out and they just buy a glass enclosure. So that's what this video is about, because when I was doing my research, I realized after the fact that I did not do enough. And I know now that if I could go back, I would just buy a PVC enclosure and go that route. It is a bit more expensive for everything you need and for the enclosure itself. So most people, I think, when they first get their first ball python, are just going to go to your basic retail pet store and buy a glass tank. So that's what this video is about, because all the videos I found online sucked. So this one I'm going to try and do is a little bit more in depth, and this is exactly how I have my setup and how I got it to the way it is. Everything is good to go. All the temps, the humidity is all good to go. So hopefully this can help out somebody that's about to buy a ball python or just got a ball python and is having a lot of trouble with the humidity, with the temperatures, and all that. So I'll get started. Let me turn the light on real quick, actually. All right. So this is my basic setup here. I'll go through everything. What I started out with, this is a 20-gallon tank. So I have two thermostats here. This thermostat controls the UHT, the under tank heater, which I have set a little bit high, and I have the probe for the UHT directly on the UHT under the tank, and then I set it a little bit higher, around 95, and I used the heat gun thermometer to get the temperature on top of the substrate inside the hide. So that's sitting around 90 degrees inside the hide, even though the thermostat here is set to 95. So that goes on. The next thing I have is for humidity, which I have set to 60, and that's connected to this humidifier here, which goes into the tank. But what initially it went on a lot. Now I figured out that if I just have this ceramic heat emitter, it's a 100 watt. I have that to get the ambient temperature up to 80, which this thermostat is on, set to 80. So it's on right now. So that'll always be around 80 to keep the ambient temperature up. Like I said, it's 100 watt. It's perfect for heating this tank. If you have a 10-gallon tank, you might need to go with something a little bit smaller, because that will overheat the tank, unless you have it on a thermostat as well. And what I found was, prior to getting this water dish in the corner here, which is a large water dish, it covers a lot of surface area, which is good for humidity. So I have that directly under the ceramic heat emitter. And that keeps the humidity right around 61 to 64 without this humidifier even going on. So now I really only use this humidifier when he goes into shed. And when he goes into shed, I usually bump it up around 70. Otherwise, the humidity, like I said, it varies from 60 to 65. And that's a pretty much constant. I don't spray, I don't mist the tank at all. As long as I leave that water dish there, the humidity stays right around 64. And I live in New York, and right now it's winter, so it's generally a dry season for me. And like I said, I haven't had any problems so far since I set up this big water dish. Now I have this big water dish. It sits on top of his hot hide, which is right there. to give it a little bit more elevation, a little bit closer to the ceramic heat emitter. I don't know if it has any effect, if it's on the actual floor of the tank or not, but just keeping that right there, like I said, keeps the humidity in the tank, which I have the probe right there set up for it, and then I have that is the probe for the temperature for the ceramic heat emitter. All right, so I have that set up there on top of the hot hide. I have this other water bowl here, just for a little extra decor, and you know, just for the hell of it, I got water in there. I also have the cool hide over here, so I have that over here, and then I have this log, which I've never seen him under the log. He's a little bit big to go under there. I just added it in for a little more clutter, and it's holding the wire for the for the humidity probe, and then I just added some leaves, you know, the plastic leaves that you can buy at any pet store. I got a lot of the stuff online on Amazon, and right now I'm using the Coco Core, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, the Coco Core substrate, which seems okay for now. It's a little small, and I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I'm going to try a few different things, but for now I've used this. I believe it holds humidity well, so if I were to spray it down, I think that it would keep the humidity high as well. But if I spray it, the humidity goes up to like 75 to 80, which isn't really necessary right now. He's not in shed. So that's pretty much how I have everything set up. The ambient temperature is 80, the hot side is around 90, and the humidity is right around 60 to 65. And that's pretty much a constant. I don't have to spray. I don't have to do anything. I leave this ceramic heat emitter on constantly. And I also do have this light in the back. It's I believe it's an incandescent bulb. It's for reptiles that need, I think, UVB light, which the snake doesn't need. But I keep that on a 12-hour timer from 7 to 7 because I live in a studio apartment and I have no windows, just a sliding back door, which doesn't really let a lot of ambient light in the room. If I did have a lot of ambient light, I wouldn't use this. I would just leave it by a window so some natural sunlight would come in, and that would give him his day-night cycle. So I just use that. And I do believe that that does assist with the ambient temperature of the cage a very tiny bit. I noticed that the ceramic heat emitter is on less throughout the day when it's on versus when it's off at night. But nonetheless, the temperature always pretty much remains constant. The lowest it gets down to is maybe 77 point whatever. Before, you know, obviously I have it set to where it's only 1 degree. Once it gets below 79 or 78, I'm not sure if it's 1 or 2 degrees, that the ceramic heat emitter kicks back on to kick the temperature back up. So this is how I have the 20-gallon tank set up. Like I said, I feel like you don't need the humidifier. Really, when he's in shed, I'm gonna just mist. I just have it still set up in here for now. But I'm probably going to take it out sometime soon. And like I said, this is the first ball python I've owned. I've only had him for about a month. He's shed. I got him on frozen thawed meals, so I don't claim to be an expert in any way. This is just how I have my glass tank set up right now. I am going to be switching to PVC when he gets a little bit bigger and go that route, which is what I would recommend. But for a glass tank, this is really the perfect setup for me, in my opinion. If you have any input, questions, comments, concerns, just leave them in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. All right? Later.